Hello P6, welcome to Tuesday's Maths. Now, today we are going to get underway again with our numeracy ninjas. So go and download the times table challenge. You will be doing some multiplying and some dividing, just like you were doing yesterday. If you choose the higher level challenge, you're looking at all the different tables from the 2 times all the way up to the 12 times table. If you choose to do the lower level challenge, then today you're focusing on the 3 times table, multiplication and division facts. So go and have a go at that. Today's main lesson is all to do with division, and we're going to be thinking today about decimals and what we do instead of having a remainder at the end. Let's remind ourselves what we've done already to do with division. Back in P5, we would have started by dividing, looking at questions just like these. So in my first question, I've got 20 divided by 2. When I divide by 2, I'm asking myself how, if I put 20 into 2 groups, how many would be in each group? So if I share the 20 into 2 groups, well, how many 2's go into 20? We know that that's going to be 10, because 2 groups of 10 make 20. What's 15 divided by 5? Well, if I took my 15, say it was 15 sweets, and I divided them into 5 groups, how many sweets would there be in each group? Well, count in 5s until you get to 15. 5, 10, 15. So 5, 10, 15, that's going to be 3. So back in P5, we would have practiced these sorts of questions, and then we would have gone on to questions like this one, 19 divided by 4. Now, we know that 19 actually won't divide by 4. If I think about my 4 times table, the answers in the 4 times table go 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. There's no 19. So I need to think, well, how many full groups of 4 go into 19? Well, I know that 16 divided by 4 is 4. So what's 19 divided by 4? Well, I'm going to have those 4 full groups, but I'm going to have how many left over? Count on from 16 up until 19, so 17, 18, 19. I'm going to have a remainder of 3. So in P5, we practiced looking at questions like this, and we would also looked at questions like this. So if I was dividing by 3, and the number I was dividing by 3 is 147, we would have done things like 1 divided by 3, can't do, so I carry the 1 over. 14 divided by 3, well, 14's not part of the 3 times table, so counting 3's, 3, 6, 9, 12, 4 groups of 3 make 12, remainder 2, 27 divided by 3, that's going to be 9, so 147 divided by 3 is 49. What about in this one? 716 divided by 5. 7 divided by 5, well, I can make 1 full group of 5, remainder 2. 21 divided by 5, 5, 10, 15, 20 is the closest I can get. So 4 times 5 is 20. If I've got 21, remainder 1. 16 divided by 5, 5, 10, 15. But I've got a remainder at the end. Now what we're going to learn today is what to do instead of having a remainder. So today we're going to be thinking about dividing using decimals. Now, for some of the questions that we'll be doing today, the division will be done mentally, like in this one. If I had 0.6 and I was dividing it by 2, well, we've been looking at what 0.6 means, and we know that 0.6 means 6 tenths. So if I take my 6 tenths and I divide by 2, 6 divided by 2 is 3. And that's 3 tenths. How will I write down 3 tenths as a decimal answer? Well, it's going to be my 0.3, because remember, the number after the decimal point is my tenths digit. What about this one? 0.8 divided by 4. Well, again, think about your 0.8s. 0.8 just means 8 tenths. So what's 8 divided by 4? Well, 8 divided by 4 is 2. And those are 2/10. So 2/10, what will that look like as a decimal? It's going to be 0.2. So 0.8 divided by 4 is 0.2. Sometimes the numbers will get a little bit bigger. So why don't we write this one down as a division question, but instead of writing it out horizontally, why don't we turn it into a short division question? So if I took my 5.6 and I'm dividing it by 8, I could also write it out like this. So I could put the 8 on the outside because that's the number I'm dividing by, and I could put my 5.6 on the inside of the question. So can we do this one? 5 divided by 8, can't do, so 0. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my decimal point and I'm going to carry that whole 5 over into the tenths. Now I've got 56 divided by 8. And what's 56 divided by 8? Yep, it's 7. So if I took my 5.6 and I divided it by 8, I'm going to get 0.7. Let's try another one. 34.5 divided by 5. So the number I'm dividing by goes on the outside of the question. 34.5. Let's see if we can work this one out. To help me out, I'm going to put the decimal point in now before I forget about it. So 3 divided by 5, I can't make any full groups of 5, so I'm going to carry over that remainder 3. 34 divided by 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So 6 groups of 5 make 30. Remainder 4. What's 45 divided by 5? 45 divided by 5 is 9. So my final answer would be 6.9. Dividing by decimals is no harder than dividing any other way, as long as we remember to put our decimal point into the answer as well as into the question. Now, if I was to take this question, 17 divided by 5. So I'm dividing by 5 and I've got my 17. Well, I would say 1 divided by 5, can't do. 17 divided by 5, 5, 10, 15. Remainder 2. I could leave it like that, but today we're going to learn the P6 way of doing these questions, because I know that there's another way of writing 17. Instead of just writing 17 on its own, I could change that 17 into 17.0. And if I put the 0 after the 17, then what I might now be able to do is finish this question. So instead of stopping with a remainder, I'm going to put 0 after my 17 and see if I can finish this one off. So we start off in the same way. 1 divided by 5, I can't do, so it's 0, remainder 1. 17 divided by 5 is, 3. But instead of writing remainder 2, I'm going to bring that remainder 2 on over. 20 divided by 5, 4. Both of these answers are correct, but the better answer is this one, because now I've completely finished the question. So if I wanted to know what 17 divided by 5, the better answer is 3.4. Can we do this one together? 73 divided by 2. So I'm dividing by 2. I'm going to put my 73 down. 7 divided by 2. That's going to be 3. Remainder 1. 13 divided by 2. Well, 6 2's make 12. But I don't want to have to put a remainder 1. So instead, I'm going to put a decimal point, a 0. And instead of having remainder 1, I'm going to bring that remainder 1 over. 10 divided by 2. is 5. So if I have a number and when I'm doing my division at the end I have a remainder, what I can do is put a decimal point and a 0 into my tenths column and see if I can then finish it off. So P6, when you are looking at your work today, that's a lot of what you are going to be looking at. Now, if you choose today to do the higher level challenge, then to start off with today, you are going to be looking at this page, page 40. And when you're looking at page 40, you're going to be practicing dividing just like we were doing there. And in your final questions up as far as part 6, you will need to put point 0 after your questions. If you choose the lower level challenge, your work is spread across 2 pages today, so it's page 59 and page 60. And you're going to be doing the same sort of thing. We're going to be practicing our dividing in all of these questions, and in some of them you will need to put that point 0 in. But just like yesterday's work, today's work finishes off where we are going to be thinking about dividing, and this time we're going to be dividing by 10. Now, yesterday we practiced multiplying by 10. And when we were multiplying by 10, we were practicing moving each digit 1 space to the left. But that's when we multiply. When we divide by 10, as we learnt back in the first term, we move each digit 1 space to the right. So we move each number over to the right-hand side. So back at the start of P6, we would have taken a number like 70, and we would have said, what's 70 divided by 10? So we would have taken the number in the tens column, and we would have moved it into the units. So 70 divided by 10 became 7. 230 divided by 10. Again, I'm going to move each number over 1 space. So the 2 that's in the hundreds goes into the tens. The 3 that's in the tens goes into the units. So 230 divided by 10 becomes 23. If I had 9,260 divided by 10, tell somebody in your house, what's 9,260 divided by 10? We'll take each number, move it over 1 space. So the 9 moves into the hundreds. The 2 moves into the tens. The 6 moves into the units. Were you right? 926. Now, the same rule applies if we're looking at decimals. So I've still got my thousands, hundreds, tens and units, but this time I've added in tenths. I'm still dividing by 10. So to divide by 10, I move each digit 1 space to the right. So if I've got a 6 in the units and I want to divide it by 10, the 6 has to move over into the tenths column. I'm going to keep my decimal point. Decimal points will stay in a straight line. And in front of that decimal point, I need something in the units. So I'm going to put a 0. 6 divided by 10 becomes 0.6. What about 45 divided by 10? Well, I'm going to put my decimal point in. I'm going to move the 5 over into the tenths. And move the 4 from the tens into the units. So what number have I now got, P6? 45 divided by 10 becomes 4.5. Last one. You have a go at this one. If you have got 712 and you want to divide it by 10, can you move each number over 1 space to the right? So the 7 is going to go to the tens. The 1 is going from the tens to the units. The 2 is going to go into the tenths. So what does my final answer say? 71.2. So P6, no matter which level you choose, your final questions today are all about dividing by 10. So if you're using the higher level challenge, your questions are there. And at the end, you have some true or false questions. You have to work out which questions are right and which questions are wrong. And if you're choosing the lower level task, then again, you're dividing by 10 and you've got a calculator challenge to finish off with where you have to look at this puzzle, see if it's a magic square or not. Now, do you remember we looked at magic squares a couple of weeks ago? In a magic square, all the numbers have to add up to the same total. So if I added 24, 3 and 18, work out the answer to that, then add the next row, it should have the same answer. So first of all, find out if it's a magic square and then have a go at doing some dividing by 10 and you can use a calculator. So P6, you've got your Numeracy Ninja Tables Challenge. You have got your division by 10 and by single digits. Also today, then you've got your reasoning challenge, and today's reasoning challenge again is all to do with perimeter. And if you get all of that done, P6, why don't you have a go at Play Live Maths for today and see if you can get your name onto one of our leaderboards. Good luck.